The text discusses the concept of future shock and aftershock, which refers to the psychological impact of rapid technological change on individuals and societies. It also delves into the viewpoints of technocratic transhumanist futurists and their vision for the future, which involves the integration of humans with AI and the replacement of traditional societal systems with disruptive technologies. The text emphasizes the importance of knowledge and understanding in order to counteract these developments and advocates for a focus on love, wisdom, and multiversal unity as a response to this potential future. Forwarded this email? Subscribe here for more. Understanding future shock and aftershock. The technocratic prediction that common man will no longer understand reality due to the exponential pace of technological advances. Anna Maria Mihalcea, Maryland, Ph.D., June 16. Read in app. Future Shock is a 1970 book by American futurist Alvin Toffler, one written together with his spouse Adelaide Farrell. 3, in which the authors define the term future shock as a certain psychological state of individuals and entire societies. The shortest definition for the term in the book is a personal perception of too much change in too short a period of time. The book, which became an international bestseller, has sold over 6 million copies and has been widely translated. After Shock, the world's foremost futurists reflect on 50 years of future shock and look ahead to the next 50. After Shock marks the 52-year anniversary of Alvin Toffler's Future Shock. The compendium of essays comprising this landmark volume offers insightful reflections on the classic text and presents compelling and surprising views of the future through the very unique lenses of more than 100 of the world's foremost futurists, including David Brin, Poe Bronson, Sanjeev Chopra, George Gilder, Newt Gingrich, Alan Kay, Ray Kurzweil, Jane McGonigal, Lord Martin Rees, Byron Rees, and many other luminaries. Technocratic transhumanists have the common view that they see themselves as futurists. Most profess to be atheists, but describe a spiritual enlightenment which they do not ascribe to realizing the divine spiritual nature of humans as the ancient ascended masters have taught throughout history, but the merging of humans with artificial intelligence and technology which would allow the exponentially evolving near omnipotent knowledge to be downloaded into their brain and give them godlike status. In the book After Shock, it becomes clear that these scientists are well aware of the modalities of creating personal reality, and even Ray Kurzweil in his book The Singularity is Near refers to the human as an observer. This is important as quantum mechanics clearly delineates that the observation of the wave function collapses material reality. They acknowledge the unseen nature of reality on the nanoscale as the most powerful aspect of future technology, and argue that we live in an informational universe. The title of the futurist is one who accumulates enormous knowledge of all technological advances currently going on and synthesizes a future prediction of how the future projection would pan out in societal change. Hence their knowledge, their contemplation of the state of knowledge, their imagination and contemplation of the future direction of this knowledge, and their active participation in the manifestation and creation of that. Future follows are all rules of creation of the enlightened spiritual path. In the quantum field, there is no wrong or right, no time, no limitation, and all potential timelines exist simultaneously. On could say that quantum physicists are the modern mystics. So we, the rest of humanity that is not considered elite, are being written out of the equation of the future of humanity for several reasons. 1. Most of humanity is too apathetic to garner knowledge and work extremely hard to continually advance their mindful understanding of reality and its future potential. 2. Most of humanity prefers to be a complacent consumer instead of innovative creator. 3. Because most of humanity is no longer able to comprehend reality in the rapidity of exponential technological evolution. They become disoriented, fearful, confused, and eventually die or will live the rest of their existence in virtual reality. In the next 5 years, this trend is expected to accelerate, We already are in full force of future shock as seen by the turmoil humanity finds itself in, overwhelmed by the extreme lockstep manifestation of the Fourth Industrial Revolution and the Sustainable Development Goals, all created and dreamed up by these technocratic futurists. According to Moore's law, which describes the exponential nature of transistor scaling over time, this development is the main deterministic aspect of this technological exponential evolution. According to Kurzweil, the major neural net models since 2012 show that computational density goes up over time, but it is not doubling every year, but it is doubling every 3.5 months. That is an increase of 300,000-fold in 6 years. He wrote this in his essay on living in a future where non-biological intelligence grows indefinitely against fixed human intelligence, Aftershock. In this month's Wired interview with Kurzweil, he claims that we are minutes away from the singularity. If Ray Kurzweil is right, again, you'll meet his immortal soul in the cloud. The famed futurist remains inhumanly optimistic about the world and his own fate, and thinks the singularity is minutes away. The last time we talked, I mentioned Steve Jobs' commencement speech at Stanford, where he called death nature's greatest invention, clearing the way for the new. You called it a deathist position. Do you still see it that way? It's better not to die. We're not using up any resources that can't be replaced. The amount of sunlight that falls on Earth is 10,000 times what we need to create all of our energy. We'll use AI to create food and so on, so it's not like we're running out of resources. If I'm 300 years old, what will my life be like? Everything I grew up with would be different. Later, he states, even after reading your book, I'm a little fuzzy about how that cloud connection happens. Let's say you do get to escape velocity and you're living in 2050. How will your brain merge with the cloud? That's a big issue. A lot of things occur to you and you're not aware of where they came from. That'll be true of the additional computer mind that we connect ourselves to. There are people working on this now, actually being able to put things inside the brain for people who can't communicate with their own bodies. It needs to be faster than it is today. And I believe that will happen by the 2030s. When would you start connecting a child to the cloud? That's a good question. There are other ways to get inside the brain without doing it sort of mechanically. Then he was asked about the issue of consciousness of the LLM, large language model. Here is the definition of IBM. Large language models, LLMs, are a category of foundation models trained on immense amounts of data, making them capable of understanding and generating natural language and other types of content to perform a wide range of tasks. LLMs have become a household name thanks to the role they have played in bringing generative AI to the forefront of the public interest, as well as the point on which organizations are focusing to adopt artificial intelligence across numerous business functions and use cases. Outside of the enterprise context, it may seem like LLMs have arrived out of the blue along with new developments in generative AI. However, many companies, including IBM, have spent years implementing LLMs at different levels to enhance their natural language understanding (NLU) and natural language processing (NLP) capabilities. This has occurred alongside advances in machine learning models, algorithms, neural networks, and the transformer models that provide the architecture for these AI systems. Here is what Kurzweil said regarding AI systems becoming conscious. Blake Lemoine, who says he worked in your lab at Google, contends that the LLM you were working on, Lambda, was conscious. Was he wrong? I've never called him wrong. I think he loves language models. You could consider them conscious. I think they're not quite there yet, but they will be there. It's really a matter of your philosophical point of view, whether they're conscious or not. We will get to the point, and this is not 100 years from now. It's like a few years, where they will act and respond just the way humans do. And if you say that they're not conscious, you'd have to say humans aren't conscious. Their entire premise of their societal takeover is based on disruption. Disruptive new technologies are in the process to make obsolete all aspects of our current human society. For example, Rebecca Costa, featured in Aftershock, who is a sociobiologist, futurist, and has worked with leading Silicon Valley venture capitalists for 40 years, makes the following statements. Healthcare is undergoing disruption where consumable nanobots are managing genetic testing, are able to communicate diagnostic information to AI, are able to perform microsurgery in the body. This will make all healthcare providers obsolete. Nanomedicine will put an end to pharmaceutical industry, will disrupt agriculture. Self-healing polymers will magically return broken products to their original shape. This will disrupt all consumer industries from tools to military self-healing ships to self-healing toasters. Futurists also predict that instant bioidentification will be used to charge people's accounts, and total surveillance via sensors, cameras on mobile phones, facial recognition will eliminate physical currency. 30 to 50% of jobs will be performed by robots by 2030. This means we will have an explosion of useless humans whose skill and trade will no longer be needed and are expected to live on welfare. Those individuals, we are talking about billions of people worldwide, will no longer be able to cope with having no purpose in life and are expected to either live in virtual realities or die. Mark Zuckerberg was also quoted as saying, "Move fast and break things." Software development is expected to disrupt all major industries, again via AI automation. Of course, Yuval Harari is also mentioned with his explanation of dataism. If life is the movement of information, and if we think that life is good, it follows that we should extend, deepen, and spread the flow of information in the universe. If humankind is indeed a single data processing system, what is its output? Dataists would say that its output will be the creation of a new and even more efficient data processing system called an Internet of All Things. Once this mission is accomplished, Homo sapiens will vanish. In another quote, Harari states, "When cars replaced the horse-drawn carriage, we didn't upgrade horses, we retired them. Perhaps it is time to do the same with Homo sapiens." Summary. The technocratic transhumanist futurist has some core qualities that make them successful and arrogant enough to envision a future where those who are unable to keep up with their technological advancement are dispensable and will be done away with. I call them evil because the idea of getting rid of billions of useless eaters is exactly that, evil. Their strategy encompasses the disruption of all societal values, religious dogmas, family unit, corporations, industries, and replace the human factor with artificial intelligence robotics. Their expectation is that non-augmented humans will be so dumbstruck by the speed of technological advance that they will be impotent to react and they will soon be retired as useless eaters replaced by AI robotics. Believe it or not, this trend is already visible even in our freedom movement and around the world. The current knowledge base of the leading physicians is based on outdated information like viruses and mRNA that are the only threat and hence the real transformative element. Nanorobots and self-assembly polymers interfacing with AI are ignored. The current leaders have already been made obsolete by the deployment of these disruptive technologies. Imagine that this created future is racing towards all of humanity at an exponential speed. If you do not have the education to see it, you will miss the dangers, hence stealth dual-use warfare. Whatever people are currently arguing for and fighting against each other, it is already outdated. In China, homes are being 3D printed, replacing the construction industry. Proteins for food supply are synthesized from CO2. Humanoid robots already exists, including as sex companions. The science fiction future that people cannot imagine already exists and is about to replace them, according to futurist Lawrence Summ. We are going through a period as traumatic as the evolution of man's predecessor from sea creatures to land creatures. Those who can adapt will. Those who can't will perish washed up upon the shores. So what are potential coping strategies? First, knowledge is power. People must be able to comprehend what is going on in order to object and to see the dangers to our existence. If you ignore it, the train will just run you over. Information is essential, but where to get it? The leaders that are not educated enough to even explain the problem cannot see a solution. The alternative media is also heavily restricted. If only religious or socially acceptable dogmatic people can present their information in line with accepted narratives and all others are censored. That is already a weeding out of the entire sections of society that will have no access to life-saving information, leaving them behind in future shock. And that is done on purpose. The more you hold on to your box, your dogma, your religion, your culture, your creed, your values, your degrees, what you once learned in your education that you think cannot change, the more you will actually be phased out of society. I am not against people who practice religion, but point out that if the power is outside of you, and you are at war with other religions or belief systems, you cannot create an alternate future, but will be manipulated into never-ending warfare. We can see this currently in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. The religious identity has enemies. As long as we have enemies, some part of humanity is prone to be destroyed. So people turn to ChatGPT, AI. Well, that will harvest your data further to upload in the cloud your digital twin that will then have the capacity to control you further without your knowing via the nanobots WBAN in your body. Confusing, right? As Elon Musk said, AI is more dangerous than nukes. Yes, it is. If you are waiting for whatever savior, be that the military or a future president or else, and stay in place, you are already viewed as extinct. That is the one thing we cannot do, wait around. Because self-replicating nanorobotic AI-controlled sensor systems have already been deployed everywhere. And they do not wait for you. The doctors who are now sought after to give advice are being phased out by AI algorithms and nanobots. I have shown you these. They have a very short window left of relevance before their information and knowledge base becomes obsolete. This is not a value judgment, but a fact. Imagine the entire medical literature and drug development right now is already outdated, for the engineers have functional nanorobots that are replacing that entire industry. The one thing that technocratic transhumanist futurists do not have is the spiritual knowledge that we are already immortal beings. They are terrified of death and hence pursue their dream of immortality uploaded into the cloud with a vengeance. The control of everything leads to the war on nature and all life. While they understand that nanotechnology gives them the power to alter the fundamental building blocks of life, even in multiple dimensions, they cannot fathom that what they are manipulating is the essence of God. God is life in all forms and expressions. Everything is God. They want to be godlike, but they do not understand that because every human being has the creative power to observe a wave function and collapse it into personal reality. They already are divine. What is more divine than the best kept secret in science? What you think creates reality, what you observe is. What allows that to happen is our immortal, spiritual essence. They want to create equality artificially. If you understand that all human beings are an observer and that is God, we already are equal. The other thing that they do not understand that everything is held together by the love of God. They use all of the terms but leave it in the altered ego, which only has disdain for their fellow man, only sees the flaws. Enlightenment means God-man, God-woman realize not a fusion with AI, but the inner path of realization and transformation. This is what the ascended masters have realized, like Joshua ben Joseph, Buddha, Apollonius of Tyana, and others. Humans are not animals or horses to be retired. The human body is the temple of God. Ask anyone who had a near-death experience if they are still alive after the body perishes. They are. And whatsoever they believe and they observe is. I know this from personal experience. We must begin with our engagement into reality. Read. Educate yourself on everything. Become a creator, an inventor, a visionary, a genius, and dream into being alternate realities that do not destroy humanity and the earth. The reason why they have to mind control everyone is because we are creators, and if we collectively observe an alternate reality of healing, it will manifest. Understand that they are creating reality decades into the future, and they work every day hard for it, keeping their focus on that reality they want. We must do the same. Become futurists of the golden age. because failure to observe our dominant reality allows theirs to happen. It's simple physics, but we cannot resort to the future shock now, because the more hopeless and helpless we are, the more that reality also manifests. They count on us being fearful. You can read it in their books. When you have no fear and you start to create constructive realities of love, harmony, respect for all life and all human beings, we can shift the timeline. Just as they want to awaken to an enlightenment that will involve the destruction of humanity and all life, we can awaken to an enlightenment that sees the divine nature in Christ consciousness in everything. It does not matter the looks of the vehicle, its creed, culture, age, sex, gender, or color. It matters what animates the vehicle: spirit. We can heal our world. We just need to dream that into being and leave our old apathetic collapse in consciousness and consumer self behind. It is important to study how they think because they tell us of the weapons they are deploying. Nanotechnology supports 13 out of 17 sustainable goals of the UN. It is the key to understanding this war and how humanity and our world is being transformed. If you ignore it, you are helpless to react because their progress is too fast for you to comprehend. Much of politics is for your distraction and entertainment. These technocrats in the military-industrial complex run the show through AI-enabled nanotechnology and quantum computing, and they already have determined that politicians are obsolete. But if every human became a creator right now and went to all the prosecutors, became involved in local politics at the grassroots level, researching and saying no to this agenda, we can derail it. If you are one of those people who say it's hopeless and you are helpless, you are the one who is making your choice. They have a can-do attitude, and if we do too, the match will be determined by intelligence, will, endurance, wisdom, and love for life. Human genius also can accelerate. The more unlimited we become, we can know all things. Our brain is the greatest supercomputer ever created. Nothing matches its ability, neuroplasticity, and multidimensional access. And nobody is special. Everybody has a brain. You just have to use it. Additionally, there is no force more powerful in any universe than love. And they don't have it. Humanity United Now, Ana Maria Mihalcea, MD, PhD, is a reader-supported publication. To receive new posts and support my work, consider becoming a free or paid subscriber. Upgrade to paid. You're currently a free subscriber to Humanity United Now, Ana Maria Mihalcea, MD, PhD. For the full experience, upgrade your subscription. Upgrade to paid. Like, comment, restack. 2024 Ana Mihalcea, MD, PhD. 548 Market Street, PMB, 72,296, San Francisco, California, 94104. Unsubscribe. Start writing.